Right now, somewhere in the world, someone is planning a funeral. They're choosing flowers, picking out clothes, deciding what words to say over a body. We wear black, we cry, we put flowers on graves and visit them for years. But where did any of this come from? Because here's what most people don't know. 100,000 years ago, before cities, before language as we know it, humans were already burying their dead. And what they did with their dead changes everything we think we know about them. Shanidar Cave, northern Iraq, 1951. An American archaeologist named Ralph Selecki is digging through layers of ancient sediment, and he finds something he wasn't expecting. A Neanderthal skeleton, not a modern human. A Neanderthal, a different species, buried 60,000 years ago. But it wasn't just dumped in a hole. The body had been placed carefully, on its side, in a sleeping position, and around the body, pollen from 8 different plant species: yarrow, groundsel, grape hyacinth, hollyhock. Flowers. Someone had laid flowers over a Neanderthal grave 60,000 years ago. The debate started immediately. Skeptics said maybe gerbils carried the pollen in, maybe it blew in from outside. But Shanidar wasn't alone. At La Fedesi, France, a Neanderthal child buried in a pit oriented east toward the sunrise. At Göbekli Cave, Israel, a Neanderthal buried with the hyoid bone intact, the bone that controls speech. They may have been talking. They were definitely grieving. Now go back further, to our own species. Kafsa Cave, Israel, 100,000 years ago, a child buried with deer antlers deliberately placed in its arms. Not food, not tools, a symbolic object for a child who would never grow up. The bones were stained with red ochre, the color of blood, the color of life. Did they think red could bring the child back, or mark the body for something beyond this world? Now go to Russia, Sungir, 34,000 years ago. 2 children buried head-to-head in a single grave. Around them, nearly 10,000 mammoth ivory beads, sewn into their clothing, fox teeth, pendants, carved animals. Scientists calculated to carve 10,000 mammoth ivory beads by hand would take approximately 10,000 hours. 5 years of full-time work for a burial. These were not random objects. Someone loved these children enough to spend years preparing them for whatever came next. Çatalhöyük, Central Turkey, 9,000 years ago, a city of 8,000 people, one of the first cities in human history. No streets between the houses, no doors on the ground level. You climbed a ladder. You entered through a hole in the roof. And under your floor? Your grandmother. In Çatalhöyük, people buried their dead directly beneath the floors of the homes they still lived in. They slept above their ancestors every night. Why? Because the dead weren't gone. They were still part of the household, still protecting it, still connected to the family that lived above them. And sometimes, years after the burial, they would dig the body back up, remove the skull, and keep it. Ain Ghazal, Jordan, 9,000 years ago. Archaeologists uncover a pit. Inside, 32 human skulls. But these weren't trophies from enemies. They weren't war victims. They were family. Each skull had been coated in lime plaster, carefully sculpted to recreate a face. Eyes made of bitumen and cowrie shells, painted cheeks, defined brows. These were portraits of the dead. Jericho, same era. Plastered skulls kept inside homes, passed down through generations, not as decorations, as presences. The dead were still being consulted, still being honored, still part of the family, just in a different form. Not every ancient human buried the dead. Some had a different answer. Göbekli Tepe, Turkey, 12,000 years ago, the oldest known temple on Earth. Carved into its stone pillars, vultures, carrying away human heads. Sky burials. Leave the body out in the open. Let the birds take it. Let it dissolve back into the sky. The body doesn't belong to the earth. It belongs to the air. This practice still exists today, in Tibet, in parts of Mongolia, where bodies are offered to vultures on high mountain platforms. Others burned their dead. The oldest known cremation, Lake Mungo, Australia, 40,000 years ago. A woman cremated and ritually buried. And in Chile, 7,000 years before the Egyptian mummies, the Chinchorro people were mummifying their dead, removing organs, drying the bodies, reconstructing them with sticks and clay, painting them black and red, so they could stay. What does all of this tell us? Every culture, every continent, every era, they all did something with their dead. None of them just left the body and walked away. Because ritual burial isn't just about hygiene. It's not about disease prevention. It's about belief. You don't spend 10,000 hours making ivory beads for a corpse. You make them for a journey. You don't plaster a skull and give it shell eyes for a thing that no longer exists. You do it for someone who is still somewhere. Red ochre means blood. Blood means life. Life means rebirth. Flowers mean beauty beyond death. Skulls kept in homes mean ancestors still present. Every grave good is a message. We believe there is more. The moment ancient humans started burying their dead, that was the moment they became us, because only humans know they will die. And only humans refuse to accept that it means nothing. Which of these burial practices hits you the hardest? The Neanderthal flowers? The 10,000 ivory beads? The families sleeping above their dead? Drop it in the comments. I read every one. And if you want to understand who we really are, the ancient version, before all the noise, you know what to do. Subscribe, hit the bell. I'll see you in the next one.